Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Monday Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show live stream and the podcast. How are you this morning? Hope you're well. What are we up to this weekend? Do let us know and send any documentary evidence, if you will, to 913-590-303. Let's get that ticker tape going so you know who's joining us this morning. Of course, if it's Monday, it's going to be Mindful Migration Monday with reflections from James. And he's always complimented, probably with an E and an I, by an extra special guest as well at 9:30. It might be Bob and Viv, it might be Anna, it might be Tig James. This morning, it's Vitor Costa, our mate in the north of Portugal. So if there's anything you'd like to know about the north of Portugal, and yes, since I think Vitor has been making the rounds on YouTube and bringing attention to his beloved north of Portugal, where he grew up and that he knows so well. Lots more people seem to be aware and interested in the north of Portugal. Antonio Barbosa, of course, busy promoting our man in the Minho, busy promoting life up there in the north and the incredible value you can get in the fullest sense of the word. We don't like the word cheap or things that undermine the beauty and brilliance of Portugal, but on purely cynical cost terms, but certainly, relatively speaking. You can get a lot of bang for your buck over here in Portugal still. And we'll be hosting a special webinar. Actually, there is some concern, of course, in the globalized way of things as property, as people become interested in a country that is relatively less well off than countries people are coming from. That can cause some challenges. It does, of course, cause challenges. Wherever you go in the world, that seems to be the way of things. Let's look at what we can do about that, if anything, basically, on a new webinar series that we'll be having on the first Tuesday every month. And it was Antonio Barbosa's suggestion, actually, to talk about this. There was some concern about, the price bubble, bubbling, inflation of house prices, local people getting priced out, the effect that foreigners are having. Of course, when a house is bought by a foreigner from a local person, the local person is also involved in that transaction. You could say equally culpable, but it's a nuance, of course, like so many things going on right now. It's a nuanced conversation that can be had, and where light can be brought as the heat subsides. Are you for this or against this? Is he guilty or is he innocent? Should we begin to move beyond that world of rapid polarity and maybe take the time to talk to each other about these things? And certainly that's the approach we take here, as you know, if you're a regular. And we'll be doing that on the first Tuesday of next month with Antonio Barbosa, who will be addressing this point directly. And I imagine by the time we've got that organized, we'll have a full panel, not only of the Portugal Club folks who will be asking some very intelligent questions, intelligent and handsome bunch that they are. But we'll have a good panel of those from the real estate industry in Portugal, and of course Portugal Club members and Gumpers and GMP VIPs with excellent questions. And that will be when will that be? That's next. That'll be in October now, won't it? On the 3rd of October at 8:30, a special Good Morning Portugal webinar hosted by the Portugal Club about the real estate situation here in Portugal. I mentioned the podcast earlier on, didn't I? Let's have a quick look at those podcast stats, shall we? I was reminded that's how this all began. I'm looking when we do. Let me just come back to that, because when we do the new feature this morning, yes, you may have seen it. Those keen-eyed amongst you may have seen in the opening titles. There was a little bit of a remix of the opening sequence. Did anybody notice that? This is part of it. Yourself a round of applause and a pat on the back if you are trying something Portuguese today that you've not tried before. This is a new thing for me. I'm going to be alternating it with the Portugal quiz. Today, look, I'll not say what they are just yet, but can you recognize these? Have you tried these? I should be trying these. That is not a permanent tattoo of a shark on my arm, but it's semi-permanent, it turns out. I just thought it was one of these kids' tattoos. It's been on there 3 weeks now. Like I didn't do it on my forehead for fun, isn't it? But yeah, try something Portuguese. We're kicking off with these today, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that feature soon. And yes, thankfully we've got a new feature because we've got a tea duck break holiday for a moment. So there will be a big old thunder duck shaped hole this morning and this week, as we'll be without the deep thoughts. Kane Sabias. I see already though the dad jokes. You can't keep a good dad joke down, can you? So there are some dad jokes, I think, filtering through as well. But if you'd like to share a deep thought, as I did as we began the show, the opening meme was a bit of a deep thought. If you'd like to, nobody can compare to T-Duck, Thunder Duck, of course, and the way he goes about doing things. But if you'd like to share a deep thought or a dad joke or two, feel free to do so on the screen this morning. Yeah, back to that podcast then. And looking at my Try Something Portuguese, I tried these 5 years ago. Can't believe it. I tried these 5 years ago. If you haven't, you might be inspired to do so when we tried the beans this morning. And yeah, just talking quickly about the podcast, 3,000 downloads last week, slightly down, eight downloads, that is. And the top 4 countries, look at this, Brazil is going up. United States, as you might expect, in United Kingdom, the trend is upward, Portugal upward, and Brazil. Lots of people listening to us in Brazil. So thank you. If you're a Brazilian podcast listener, thank you so much. Why not send us a message on WhatsApp, 913-590-303, and wish us an hola bon dia via the direct line, the WhatsApp line through to Good Morning Portugal. So thank you, each and every one of you podcast listeners. Thank you so much. Yeah, the deep thought that I shared this morning, and it probably does need to be on the screen for a bit longer than some of the memes we put up. Talking of memes, how did you like this that are prepared especially for you? Queijo! Where you going with that gun in your hand? Okay, let's go back to the deep thoughts then. From the sublime to the ridiculous here. Start each morning by reminding yourself of 3 things. Number 1. Now, where did I see this? Whoever it was, I think it was Petra, wasn't it? Real Estate Petra. She shared this and I borrowed it because I know she didn't write it. This is a photograph of one of her. I think this might have come a long circuitous route, like some of these things do. I think the author posted it, then some sort of feel good or a personal development site picked up on it, and then Petra shared it. There may have been many more people in the chain. This looks like pithy chapter 28. Start each morning by reminding yourself of 3 things. I wrote a book like this back in 2001, actually. Number 1, life is short and can end at any moment. That's a sobering reality, isn't it? How would you like to spend your last moments? Blimey, when you put it like that, I'm very happy here. Should these be my last few moments, very happy spending them in the company of you, GMP VIPs and Gumpers. Today will be a good day no matter what happens. This sounds like James Holley speaking, doesn't it? The banana slug. You can turn negative moments into learning opportunities because you can control your reactions. Notice, choose, act. Number 3 of these, deep thought, deep thinking this morning. One of the greatest human desires is to be relevant and connected. Being relevant and connected. How can you help make someone feel relevant, connected, needed, and understood today? That's a nice thought, isn't it? It's a nice pushing off point. If life were a massive swimming pool, that's the side from which we can push ourselves off. And who doesn't like to be? No, not many people like to be pushed off first thing in the morning. One of the greatest human desires is to be relevant and connected. How can you help someone, anyone, feel relevant, connected, needed, and understood today? There you go. That's nice, isn't it? Some deep thinking to get started with. Let's see who's here this morning and let's find out how your weekends have been. Mine was amazing. Started on Friday. Saw Bobby, hung out with Bobby ahead of next weekend's fun. Had a taste of that, a preview of that, a bit of fun on Friday afternoon. And met up with Gilda later on Friday Friday evening it was by the time I got to her swanky new offices. Very nice they are too. Deagle's in, the wise men of the Gumpocalypse, including T-Duck. Thanks for popping in, T-Duck. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers from a very wet Belfast. Over an inch and a half yesterday of rain, that is. It was a warm 14. Too many people let a Monday ruin their weekend, dreading a new week instead of embracing the present time. Well said, Deagle. Everything has its place, and today's Monday, but don't let it slip into your rest and recuperation, your R&R. There's some deep thinking right there. Cheers, Deagle. Thank you very much for that. Oh, I see you're going to be starting on your GCSE in Portuguese. That sounds to me, if you're doing it for 2 years, as I think you are, that sounds like a A2 level, maybe even higher. Morning, all. Morning, Captain. That's the ancient mariner who's in. While I have little time for the man, I think we know who you're talking about already. I feel that this weekend's media lynch mob, yes, and it's not the MSM, is it? It's the MLM at the moment. The media lynch mob warrants a response worthy of Kirk Douglas himself, and I am therefore proud to say that I'm Russell Brand. Yeah. Alternatively, guilty until no, just guilty. String him up. That does seem to be the way of things, doesn't it? I mean, talk about a hit piece, hit job on the guy, but they've picked on quite a strong opponent, I think. The way that Russell Brand is managing this is very interesting. If comparing him to others who've been put through this same process, while there are many others that are wringing their hands behind the scenes, I think, aren't they? In these faceless organizations in which these horrific, alleged horrific incidents took place. There never seems to be any responsibility at that level, does there? We like a scapegoat and a focus for our vitriol. But there's always the context for that, isn't there? There's always the enablers, if you like, of how this has gone on. While the going was good, everyone loved him, didn't they? But suddenly they've all disappeared. Bon dia todos from the Banana Slug will be here later, and he'll ask that question himself. I'll pop that up again later. And he had a chappy childhood, a happy childhood. Oh no, it's a sneaky dad joke. My dad used to put me in tires and roll me down hills. Those, my friends, were the good years. Very good. Coach Turner's in as well. Good morning, Coach T. Now, that's another part of my weekend, watching Portugal at the Welsh Bar. Oh, flipping heck, I've got to show you some pictures of that. It was great being with Tudor Bain. Oh no, I can't do that. I'm going to my photos and nearly getting rid of the show. Open a different tab, Carl. To show everybody Tudor Bain. Oh, and Colin was there as well. It was really great fun hanging out with Colin. If you tuned in this morning, Colin, I love the idea of our new project, and I will be on that later on. I was walking down there. I walked past some Madronias on the way to the rugby match. So I'm gonna save those and show you those as well this morning. And I walked past the Bomberos. Oh, I've got pictures of fish as well. I've got 20 euros worth of fish here. No, I'm not selling them. I've already eaten them. But that's going to be shown to you in just a minute. I'm just realizing how much fun I had this weekend by looking at my photos here. The triathlon was in San Martino de Porto as well. Where's this picture of Tudor Bain, though? Yeah. Oh, here he is. What a legend that man is. Right. I'm downloading that now. And I want to bring... That's if I've got any space in my bulging picture deck this morning to show you all of these. But some superb pictures here. Might have to just be one at a time because there's so many of them. There's fish, there's Welshmen, there's two Welshmen, three fish, two Welshmen, and a Madronia walk into a bar. It's going to be like that this weekend, actually. Okay, so there's the Madronia, in case anyone was wondering about who were we talking to about Madronias? Oh, it was Katia Lima, wasn't it? Last Tuesday or Thursday, last week, anyway. That's a Madronia, and that was poking through the school gates. And now you got to eat those off the tree because as soon as they're on the floor, they've got bruised. They're very delicate. If I were a fruit, I'd be a Madronia. I think, hopefully nice and attractive, but easily bruised and sweet to the core. What would you be if you were a fruit? So then I go to the Welsh bar to watch the rugby, and Portugal put in a great performance, didn't they? I think the phrase that was being used, Coach Turner, was making a good account of themselves, and they certainly did that. They didn't get the thrashing, 100 points that people thought that might happen, which happened in 1994, 100 plus thrashing there. But they did really well. It was a great game, really good fun, and what an atmosphere there at the Welsh bar. There's Colin on the right. And outside later on, I said, Tudor, can I have a selfie with you? Might that be oh, there's Anna in the background as well. She of the Good Morning Portugal show and the Immersion Experience. And it's a selfie. That's why that's not Welsh in Welsh. It's just backwards. It does actually say Welsh bar when you spin it around. Welsh snack bar and Wales Rugby Union, and of course a red dragon in the window. And Tudor, there he is, lovely boy. Tudor Bain outside as I was leaving there. Fantastic. And 20 euros of fish. Yeah. Now I've got a tale to tell James when we see him later on. I managed to get all this fish, and it looks tiny, doesn't it? I should have put a knife in the picture. That's a massive sea bass in the middle there, all beautifully cooked, cleaned, and well, even if I say so myself, it was beautifully cooked later on that same day, and we're still eating fish stew from the boiled up bones. Right, back to your it's quarter to. Come on, we've got to get on with things here. What's going on? Dad jokes are very environmentally friendly. They're recycled. Absolutely. Over and over and over. Yes, indeed. Bon dia, Gumpers. They're like my fish bones or a stone soup, aren't they? We just don't stop getting the goodness out of them. Bon dia, Gumpers. Let's celebrate that we've made it to another week. Yay! And congratulations to Portugal. There you go, for playing a fantastic game of rugby against Wales on Saturday and scoring a wonderful try. Oh, I was shouting and screaming inside the Welsh bar when they got the ball over the line. It was fantastic. Really great Saturday late afternoon there. Good afternoon, God Squad. No, God Squad, tip of the day. I was helping out at a car show yesterday, which was great fun. By the end of the day, you see, this is how to do 10,000 steps, isn't it? I mean, there are people like Phil who get up every day and go and do 10,000 steps. And thanks to the Gumpers. Thank you so much to the Gumpers who put their hands in their pockets and supported Phil on Friday. He'll be out doing his 10,000 again today. Now, a good way of doing it is to not think about it too much. The times I've reached 10,000, I haven't been thinking about it. I haven't been just, do another 1,000, another 3,000. It's getting out and about and doing stuff, isn't it? It's staying active. And then before you know it, many a mickle makes a muckle in the step game. You don't have to do them all at one time. Exactly. Maybe there's something you can do that will allow you to build your step count without thinking about it. Yes, we're on the same page there. I would say going shopping. And that was part of my Saturday as well, was going to the market. And I felt so guilty for not having been to the market. And I'll explain why. I'll explain why when we talk to James in a little while, because that's what I want to talk to him about. That's my mindful migration reflection. Will be about going to the market and taking my relationship with the fish witch to a new level. Hola, bon dia, alegria from Coimbra this morning. Barrack, great to see you here. And Terra Portuguesa, gonna go eat breakfast, then a tour. We'll check in later. Delago, look at him. Well done, Barrack. I understand you've had quite the journey getting over here. What's this? What's he? Why is he calling? All right, ancient mariner. All right. You know, you're trying to appeal to me with a bit of a bit of shaming, basically. It might work as well. I start so Barak, stay in touch. I know you're knackered, basically, cream crackered, cansado. So muito cansado. Take it easy, enjoy your tour, and hope to see you on the show tomorrow. And maybe you'll come along as our special guest for the Portugal Club. We're going to be talking about our Expats Angels project. You might want to come along for that. You might not, but I'd love you to come along and say hi at the Portugal Club tomorrow night. I start my GCSE classes in Belfast tonight, learning Portuguese language. It's a 2-year course every Monday. It's got to be higher than A2. What is the level of that? I mean, I know in British pounds that's a GCSE, but how does that rate to a A2, B2, whatever, A1? Oh, Mrs. M bursting in. I have a hot date with an orbital sander this morning, living the dream there. So we'll probably neither be able to join in or even hear you. What? I was using power tools at the weekend. I used a nail gun for the first time. My chop saw's going beautifully. I made some shelves for Mrs. M. And we all know what that means, don't we, gentlemen? Yes. Made some beautiful shelves for Mrs. M really quickly. Power tools, aren't they amazing? They make a big difference. So good luck, ancient mariner. Be careful. Wear a mask. one of the useful instances in which you can wear a mask when you're standing. Bon dia, Alegria Gumpers. I'm taking a few days off to work on a few projects. I'll be listening, though. Yes, he's listening. Bon dia. Cheers, T-Duck. Enjoy your projects and see you soon, mate. Bon dia from a mild, moist Fundal. Well, here, Pete, it's 25 in the studio. Nearly 21 degrees outside. My probe is hung up in the back passage. And that's the reading I'm getting at the moment. Must set that clock right. It says 9:43 at the moment. It is not 9:43. It's 8:51 here in Portugal. Hello, bon dia, folks. Owen Lloyd Martin, morning to you, mate. I believe you're joining Mrs. M on the Barefoot broadcast. In case you haven't heard about it, that's Mrs. M's show at just after 10, 5 minutes past 10. Benjamin, who you've seen on this screen on Good Morning Portugal. Of course, you've seen Owen many a time as well. Owen and Ben. Will be with Mrs. M just after 10 this morning. Those beans are the healthiest bar snacker. They are. Carl, you must enjoy peeling the skin back and sucking on a... Oh, Peter! I have my limits. But you don't, but I do. But that is very, very good. It's got to be said. I shall be using that in other contexts. Bon dia, Toros, a fan of... Who just gave that a like? Oh, Jeff, morning to you. How you doing? Virtually no calories or emotional commitment. And I've only just found that out. Should we do that now? Let's do that now. Okay. Suze is here. Bon dia. The corgi attacked Taxi just moments ago. Had to pry his mouth off Taxi's ear. Oh, no blood. But this dog needs socialization classes. It's just they're sorting out the pecking order. Quite literally there. I will do that. I'm still shaking. Omni is shunned to the corner. It's always something. Well, this was the send-off. If I can just distract you for a minute. Antonio F is in as well. How you doing? Mr. S is in. Bon dia, very good with a bit of a central Portugal turn of phrase there. And Swede in Portugal, Anna is here. Bon dia, todos. Such a nice quiet weekend for a change. Yes, nice, isn't it? Every now and then in Stockholm, 4 degrees this morning. Am I glad to be in VRSA? Munson, stop it, Ancient Mariner. Well, I don't even know what you send me so much. I don't even know what that refers to. It was music, wasn't it? And I said, am I going to get busted for playing that? I think, what's that? The forfeit should have to be a Captain Pugwash tattoo on his forehead. For the second time, I have my limits. Filomena is here. Hola, bom dia, gente maravilhosa. Boa segunda-feira. Good morning to you, Filomena. I imagine you're back from your holiday and we'll be picking up where we left off with the tour to the schist villages and Berra. Looking forward to that. Araújo next weekend. The beer festival after that over at Castanheira de Pera with Frank. Me and Frank will be there on the 30th for having some fun, reviewing beers, outside broadcast style. Really looking forward to hanging out with Frank and other gentlemen that weekend. Oh, Jim White's in. Bon dia, todos. Hey, Jim, how are you doing this morning? Good to see you. How are you? How's Porto? How's life up there? So, yeah, that's the 30th. And then the weekend... no, not the weekend, the Friday after that, although all will be revealed soon. Oh, Diane, stop it. Look, has nobody coughed up the 700,000 euros yet? Diane, and I'm sure that's not your real name. Stop being a pain, will you? Look, okay. Sometimes I don't get, this gives me so much joy this morning. Delete comment, block user, let's block user. Head off, Diane. God, I mean, people must fall for it, mustn't they? Otherwise, these spammers wouldn't do it. But oh my God, how tedious and boring you are, Diane. Probably not your real name. If you're truly in need, send me a message 913-590-303. But that's not the way to go about getting care and help. Hair and kelp. That's not the way to get care and help. Hair and kelp, right here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Now, where was I? I was about to pop a plump, salty thing in my mouth, Peter. Okay. Now, right. No, hold on. We've got to set this up right. Hold on. This is instead of the Portugal quiz, we'll be alternating Portugal quiz and try something Portuguese. So let's roll that VT. Like there's a little bit of they say there's lossless copying when it comes to digital. It sounds like that one needs to be redone. A little bit of How's your father going on with that one? I'll have to redo that Vingle, I think. Anyway, here we are. Try something Portuguese. Today it's these bad boys. You've seen them in the bar. You might not have tried them. And we're going to do that this morning here on the Good Morning Portugal show. And they'll come in a little tray or a saucer like that full of beans to go with, nearly spilt Ceylon on my mixing desk there. So here you go. Close up. That's what they look like. And these in Portugal are traditionally eaten with beer. Now, like a Sagres or a Superbog. The important thing with these, and I'll be careful not to drip on the microphone or the desk here, but this is the rookie error with these. And if you're a bit naughty, you'll let your new visitor to the country eat this with the outer skin on. The idea is to pinch the bean, so to speak. Who doesn't like to pinch the bean first thing in the morning? And I have removed the outer skin, revealing. You see that? What's that called? It looks like a sea creature now, doesn't it? And all the best things in life look like sea creatures. Have you noticed? Now the little, if it were to germinate, that's the little foot that comes down, isn't it? There. Now, I'm going to eat it now. These are preserved in a salt water. Forgive me if you're the sort of person who doesn't like hearing other people eating on TV shows or on the radio. I love these. I don't think I've ever eaten one at 3 minutes to 9 in the morning, but I would recommend it. Morning, James. He's ready. I'm not reading that out. What on earth? Don't do that. Well, I've got a bean in my mouth. Stop it. Right. We're trying something Portuguese here. Not that you'd necessarily know. And if I have a look over at, I did a podcast on this 5 years ago nearly, or 4 years and 11 months ago. And we are looking at, in Portugal, it's a tremoços, or tremoço bean, which is a lupin bean. Other Mediterraneans call them lupinis, also called lupins. They're sometimes used as a meat substitute because of their abundant amino acid profile, which is comparable to soy, but don't let that put you off. And they are an excellent source of protein. Now, Pete alluded to this. They're high in protein, they're low in carbs, and they're a good source of fiber. And I'm still eating one while I'm talking to you, which is disgusting. It goes against everything my mother ever taught me. Are lupini beans the same as fava beans? I should have eaten a smaller amount. As I do more and more of these try something Portuguese features, I will learn how to do it better and eat and talk at the same time without being too disgusting. Are they the same as fava beans, which some people think? And this is Beachbody On Demand. Well, that's a good website, isn't it? .com. While they look somewhat alike, lupini beans are not fava beans. Their nutritional composition and taste are very different. Lupini beans are silkier in texture. Who doesn't like a silky texture first thing in the morning? And boast a more savory taste than fava beans. It's true. Now, the fava bean is the broad bean, isn't it? In British. And so these are definitely much nicer to eat than a pile of broad beans or fava beans when you're sat in a bar. They're also higher in protein, calcium, magnesium, and some fatty acids. So this absolutely gets a thumbs up from me, I've got to say. Trying something Portuguese this morning. It has been the tremoço, or the tremoços in plural. A variety of beans called sweet lupins contains fewer of the bitter alkaloids and requires less soaking. If you don't eliminate all the bitter compounds, the beans are not only harmful, they'll taste very bitter. So by the time they've got to you in a jar like this, where are we? Let's come back to the camera here. Look, they look lovely in their little, they look like a snowstorm, don't they? See, if you wanted to save money at Christmas time, you could tell your kids, grandkids, it's a Portuguese snowstorm toy, and you can eat it afterwards, which you can't do with a normal Portuguese, which you can't do with a normal snowstorm toy. You could put a little plastic snowman in there, I guess, can you? You're welcome to all this extra added value. But there you go. Look, by the time they've got you in a jar like this, they have been cooked, and then they're soaking in saline there. And these are extra. I've got the free range. They're not free range, actually, or organic. And that's not focusing very well, but they are the big ones. And that's, I think this would be my preference. If I'm going to have a cold beer and a few of these, it turns out they're pretty nutritious and helpful. So there you go. I commend to you, try something Portuguese. And that's a good starter, isn't it? Because I have been set some other tasks, I can tell you, including in this new mission of mine. Try something Portuguese. What do you recommend or dare me to try? GMP VIPs, please send me your suggestions. This is over on our GMP VIP platform. Please send me your suggestions for things to try live on the Good Morning Portugal show. I'll be alternating this new feature with the Portugal quiz and would love your help and prompts about what to try. And I've offered to be a food taster, guinea pig, and proxy in the front line of Portuguese life and culture. So let me know what Portuguese something you'd like me to try in the comments. You can do that as a YouTube member as well over on the YouTube channel. Now, I've been asked if I'll try, Virginia, thank you, the tortas de Guimarães. Thank you. Got to go to flipping Guimarães to get some of those, I think. Alheira de Mirandela from Antonio, who's here this morning. Not the industrial ones, the real deal. I will at some point do it. You know I will. But that wasn't an easy one to pull off this morning, so to speak. Francesina, I'm up for that. I'm up for eating a Francesina, and I'll have to double up with Mrs. M so that I can get a big mouthful of Francesina and not render myself incapable of running a show. So there you go. Francesina, the Alheira de Mirandela, and Tortas de Guimarães are the suggestions so far. So thank you very much for those. I will get back to them. But we've got to move on now because the man who, that's better, full of beans. I'm not reading out that other comment, James. He's here and he wants to join us. So I'm going to play his intro music. We'll see him right after this.
Bom dia!
Bom dia, alegria. Tudo bem? Como estás?
Muito bem.
Muito
Obrigado. E tu?
Muito bem. Yeah. Had a great weekend. Excelente. Bom fim de semana excelente para mim.
Sim.
Why are you chuckling?
I'm just laughing because of the whole weekend question.
Yeah,
Always. Earlier today, you said, what day is it? And I said, yeah, welcome to my life.
It's excellent to have you here.
It's a Good Morning Portugal day.
It is. And whether you've had what is conventionally known as a weekend or not, we know you will have a mindful mirroring upon the musings that you have had, and I can't think of another M right now, but over the murmurations and musings. Mystical matey here this morning. Yes, what has been on your mind? I've got something to share with you because I went to the market and it was quite the eye-opener. So I'll come back to that. It's a bit of a confession and a bit of a breakthrough. What have you been thinking?
Well, my most immediate thought was this post that keeps showing up on the comments that I think we're eliminating now. But every time it shows up, it's like, how do you get so many characters in a comment? How does that happen?
You're just envious of the.
Well, yeah, it's like, man, I like maximizing my characters.
Who doesn't first thing in the morning? Now, that's Diane is doing that via Facebook. This much we know. So that's a clue. If people want to pop in longer messages, it may.
Okay, that's where it is. All right.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, sometimes with some of the ways she comes in via, and it's obviously not Diane, is it? It's someone pretending to be Diane on the prowl, fishing for 700,000 euros. I mean, it's an interesting process, isn't it? And I know there are YouTubers who've sort of indulged these folks and seen how it's gone. I don't think we've got time to get into all of that. But there must be something in it, mustn't there, that with that grift that they keep doing it?
Well, yeah, there's a plea for help. And I think most decent human beings want to help if they can.
Yes, well said.
There's an element of gullibility where, I mean, I might have been pulled into that the very first time I looked at it. But then I also pause, take a moment. Oh, there's that mindful thing again. Something about it feels off. Something about it just isn't quite right. Maybe I should look a little more deeply. And at some point you figure it out, and every time you see it, you just delete it or ignore it, which unfortunately, if someone has a legitimate plea, then they're not as likely to get help because people have been put off by these fake ones. It's kind of like when I say bad dog owners make it hard for the rest of dog owners to rent an apartment or rent a place because they don't take care of their animal, and that puts the owners off to anyone with a dog, even if they're really good owners and have really good pets. So the same kind of thing. We just sort of adapt to it or adjust to it and start ignoring it. So that's my take on that one.
It is it is, it's everywhere, isn't it? How one bad apple, etc., can ruin it for the rest of us. And it's just, I guess, it reminds us, doesn't it, to strike a balance between becoming cynical and staying open-hearted and finding that middle path.
Yep. And I'm reminded, it happened just yesterday. I got a friend request from Colin. And I said,
yes,
how is it we're not friends yet? Okay. And I just said, click. Yeah, I'll be friends with you on Facebook. I know you. That's my criteria. I have to know someone to friend them. I just,
fair enough.
I don't know. Anyway, then I go to my news feed and it says I've been hacked or not hacked, but someone stole one of my pictures and is pretending to be me and sending out requests, and it's already got 10 responses. So it's the same dynamic. It's like the reaction is meant in good faith and from a positive place, but then you find out you've been burned, and then it's like, oh God, now I have to unfriend them, and I don't want them to get into my life, that whole thing. So it's unfortunate. I don't understand quite the psychology of why people do things like that, short of attention getting. Or the other motivation, which is usually to get something from people, their identities, their money, something along that line. But outside of that, I don't understand why people need that much attention or think that somehow this is a great way to get it.
Yes.
So I don't know. Anyway,
and who wouldn't? I mean, that's the other thing, is who wouldn't want to be friends with this chap? It was great fun hanging out with him, and nice to meet you, Nick, who came along to watch the rugby at the Welsh Bar with Colin there. We had a hoot on Saturday. Did you watch the rugby? Did you find yourself in a position to watch the Portuguese against the Welsh?
I saw a little bit of it. I struggled. Well, let me go to one thing I missed on my last point, which was I reacted immediately. I said, oh, yeah, I had the thought, aren't I already friends with him? But I just went past that and said, yeah, I want to be friends. I don't know. Okay, yes.
Yes.
So that's the other thing, is the pause, the taking a moment and saying, what's going on here? It wouldn't have taken long to just do a search for Colin's name and found out, oh, wait, he's got a profile here. What's this? And that would have warned me. So there's that failure to pause in that moment of eagerness to please or help or whatever it is that can get us into trouble. So,
well, that's what, as you said, I mean, that's what the grifters are working on, isn't it? Is appealing to people's good nature.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I mean, in a way, it's beautiful that they are even able to do that, isn't it? That exists in people, the willingness, as you put it, to help and be available to people. A little bit like the earlier comment. I don't know if you heard that.
I did.
But that, one of the greatest desires is to be relevant and connected, and of course that would be a great way of doing that, wouldn't it? Somebody who appears to be in need or wants to be a friend, you step forward and you do the right thing.
And most of us think that to connect we need to talk. But really, to connect, we need to listen. And that's a mistake we all make. Now, we may need to initiate something to listen to if someone's not speaking. But the idea is to listen when someone is speaking, really listen to them. That's how we feel connected, is when we feel heard.
Well, although I think I might try that later on, James. I love that. I might just start a conversation by listening. And not... It's like... Are you okay? You're not your usual self. I'm listening. That could be so unnerving. I'm listening. Carry on. Okay.
But we weren't saying anything.
Exactly. Please try that.
Then you just go,
Yeah, I'm still listening. I'm listening, caller, which we used to say here, didn't we? Mr. S is having a great time. Look, this was 9:03, then at 9:04, then at 9:07.
Wait, you skipped a couple minutes. What happened?
Yes, no, he's still laughing from 9:04, I think, with that one. Which that reminds me of that it's not a dad joke, it's a junior school joke. What goes ha 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 bonk?
I don't know this one.
Somebody laughing their head off.
Oh.
It looks like him this morning. Right, I've got a confession to make as
Go
well.
for it. I'm listening.
Oh, you're listening. Of course you are. Right. And it revolves around these three fishes here. It's almost a Bible story, isn't it? Right.
It is. Should I get a rosary out or something? Holy water to bless you with?
Yes, definitely. But wait and see the story of the three fishes. Now, I think we've got a carapau, a robalo, and a dorada there. The gilt-headed bream, bottom of the picture, your sea bass in the middle, and is that a horse mackerel? It's not your normal mackerel. It's a carapau. I think it's a part of the mackerel family. All delicious.
Is it a holy mackerel?
It turns out it was.
All right.
We need
Batman.
Holy mackerel. Yes. Now, Saturday, the situation conspired where I thought to myself, there's a triathlon going on. So my street was quiet. It had been blocked off. You couldn't drive onto the main Nazaré road. There's a policeman standing at the bottom of the road. The atmosphere was very different to normal. And it set me off on a new sort of path that day. You know, I wanted to do a few things around the house, wanted to go to the market. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to go to the market. I'm going to pop down, see what's going on. If I can have a bit of a nosy, watch the cyclists go past, because that's what they were using our part of town for, the cycling part of the triathlon. Not taking part this year myself, just watching. And I walked to the market, and I thought to myself, I haven't been to the market for a long time, James. Why do I not go to the market? And I realized a couple of things in this sort of mindful reflection about myself going to the market. Two things. One is that I'm a little bit afraid of the fish ladies in there. I don't know
Yeah, you had a story about that once.
Exactly. The lady who comes up to me and grabs me and sort of pushes me towards her fish stall and starts talking about 30 euros. And before I know it, she's hypnotized me, and I'm walking out of there with a bag of fish and a 30 euros lighter in the pocket. And I don't want that to happen. I would like some part in this.
Carl going to the market.
It was like that. So I sort of walked in, like Homer Simpson, in the hedge, and there's a double dynamic, because the first fish lady, I think, doesn't like me anymore because I used the second fish lady. And she's the established fish lady of San Martino de Porto, and she's great. And I have bought fish from her, but we also noticed that she I'm assuming that there is an assumption about us being tourists and not locals, where she'll serve local people and keep us waiting. And like, okay, fair enough, I get it. You have to earn your stripes, and before you're truly served in a particular way, as though you were a local. Anyway, I'm imagining in my head, and this is what we do, isn't it? We imagine all these things. I'm imagining in my head.
So much.
Yeah, she doesn't like me anymore, and she never liked me very much anyway.
Because why would anyone like you, Carl?
Exactly. And I'm thinking, and yes. Here I am trying to buy fish, but I'm so unlovable.
That's right. She won't even take my money.
But she might like me if I buy some fish from her. So all of this is going on, isn't it? And so I'm thinking, she's thinking she doesn't like me because I used the other lady. I'm now trying to avoid the other lady because I feel like she puts me through some sort of hypnotic fish selling process.
And you leave traumatized.
Yeah. So I walked into but with lots of lovely fish, it has to be said. Traumatized, but with bag of fish. So I walk into the market. The two fish ladies are over to the left in the wet fish area, and there are a couple of other people selling, crustaceans and other things there, and bacalhau. So it's a really good Saturday morning in the market, and I realize all of this is kicking in. Oh my God, fish witch lady's going to come and hypnotize me. That one doesn't like me. I know. I'll just turn right and go and look at the fruit and veg. Swing a right into the market and hope I haven't been seen by the fish lady.
Could be considered a healthy choice.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to feel like that in the market. I don't want all of that going on. I mean, I'm saying to people, I love Portugal, love the experiences of Portugal. Go to the local market. You'll have fun. You'll learn Portuguese. And
as long as you have places to hide.
Yes, that's right. As long as you've developed a coping strategy and it's not triggered off, hundreds of childhood memories. So how I want it to be in the meme is like, this is me at the Portuguese market on a Saturday. skipping through, buying things, talking in Portuguese to people. Hola, bom dia. Waving. Hi, they know me here.
Yes, those memes that say what I do, what people think I do, what I think I do. Yes,
it's exactly one of those memes. And what people think I do in the market is go through, go, hola, bom dia. Pepino, faz favor, obrigado. Bom fim de semana. And it's all like, there's music playing in the background and I'm skipping through it or in slow motion through the market.
You don't do that? Oh,
no,
you're going to shatter my idea of what you do.
In the other part of the meme, I'm walking through
what I do, yes.
I'm walking through the market. I'm hoping that the fish lady's not.
Don't talk to me.
That's right. And then I'm thinking, yeah, talk to me. I'm going to assert myself this week. No, I'm not. And then I disappear and hide among the big cabbages and stuff. And then another thing kicks in as I'm walking around. It's like, oh my God, who am I going to offend by not buying from them? Do you have this at the market? Who am I going to?
No, I'm a people pleaser, but not to your degree.
Well, I am. This is terrible. Hold on a minute. We've been interrupted by. She was only a Portuguese fishermonger, but she used to love to lay on the slam and shout, "Fill it!" Oh, please! It won't be the first time. Will you pack it in, ancient mariner? I'm with my psychotherapist here, just trying to work through this. Right,
I'm loving the story. Yes,
yeah. I'm hiding in among the fruit and veg. The taller the better for these purposes. And now I'm thinking to myself, who am I going to offend?
A hint, by the way, hiding in the melons helps because they're basically head size.
Yes,
they're harder to see. If you're
and it can cheer you up, can it? It lends itself to a Benny Hill sketch as you stand up and have two massive melons in front of you, and just your head is appearing.
Yeah, it brings a whole other meaning to melon. Yes, the other meaning. Yes.
Yeah, and that can use humor to now alleviate this somewhat difficult situation. However, that wasn't happening. I didn't get my hands on any melons on Saturday. Oh yes, I did, but not in the market. Well, hey, okay. So where was
Overshare.
I'm behind the fruit and veg, and I'm walking around at the back of the market, avoiding the two fish ladies.
And eye contact, I think.
And eye contact with other women now who are looking at me, who, if I look up, are going to say "Bon dia," and I'm going to feel bad that I'm not buying anything from their store.
And they're going to be looking at you going, "Oh, here's that guy who tries to buy stuff from us, and we don't like him."
Yes, that is going on as well. When in actual fact, they are probably just thinking to themselves, "What am I going to cook tonight? Did I get that meat out of the freezer? Does my husband love me? Whatever." All these
telling me what he wants.
Yes. But first, so what happens? I get eye contact.
You're gone.
I'm a goner. And I think, "Oh, alla bon dia." And I'm thinking, okay, well, those beans look okay. I'll buy the beans. And
just don't spill them. Sorry.
Yes, no, they weren't these kind, James. They were feijoa verde on string beans. No, lovely beans. And I'm getting into my rhythm. I think, okay, I'm committed now to this lady. This stuff looks okay. And all of this is going on. And behind me, I'm thinking I can feel the penetrating gaze of a fish lady because she's probably seen me now. And
burning through the back of your head.
Exactly. She'll be, there's a smell of singeing penetration. Oh, who does? I don't like that smell first thing in the morning.
And then coming out your eyes.
That's right. And the lady say, "Tabay?"
No.
And change the subject, buy some beans. So yeah, what the first stall, I'm thinking now I'm Anthony Bourdain. I've got into my rhythm. I'm buying things. I am grabbing bags, filling bags up, putting them on there where I know she can pick them up and weigh them and writing down the things. And I'm suddenly feeling like I'm in a documentary again and things are going my way. I am now acing it at the market. The plums look pretty good. They look very seasonal and plump and tasty. I'll have some.
And you can hear the narration of your scene in your head.
Exactly. You know me and humans so well, James. I part with my cash. I get my bag.
At this point, I'm thinking, I wonder how much this will cost.
Exactly. And realizing that Portugal is really very good value with all of these. Look at this beautiful array of fruit and vegetables that I've managed to purchase here.
All locally sourced, so much fresher.
That's right. And then I'll say, muito obrigado, bom fim de semana, to the lady behind the counter. Igualmente, as I walk away. And then, of course, the insecurity comes in again. I'm like, well, I better go see the lady I normally go to see and buy some stuff off her, because if I don't, she'll think something's wrong. So
she'll hate you. Oh, man, you're making so many enemies at the market.
That's right. So then I am, and I buy some more stuff from this lady, and that goes well. And I'm in and out of documentary mode. Anthony Bourdain 1 minute, Woody Allen or whoever the next.
Hide and seek.
It is Woody Allen at his best, isn't it? That sort of the voiceover of Woody Allen. Like, God, I think she hates me. Well, I should buy some vegetables here because, oh my God, I'm beginning to feel quite hated.
I don't even like these vegetables.
That's right. That's right.
I'll have these, please.
Switching between Bourdain and Allen as I'm making my way around.
What a scene.
And then, of course, I'm thinking to myself, I want fish. I came here to buy fish.
I want fish, but I can't go to the fish place.
Yes.
I'll go somewhere else.
But then I have an Anthony Bourdain moment, buoyed up and G'd up by his production team, who are saying, Tony, you go buy the fish. This is going to make great TV.
That's what we came here for.
Exactly. You can't wuss out now, Tony. It's got to be done. So I take a deep breath and I summon up the spirit of Anthony Bourdain and make my way over to the fish counter. And right enough, she comes alongside me. She kind of appears out of nowhere. What's that? Poor taste is the issue, but I still love you. Sorry, I don't know what's going on here now. And is that someone else who hates me? Oh no! Okay, right.
Everyone hates me.
Okay, so I'm standing at the looking. I've walked past established fish lady who I know doesn't like me and never did. Okay, so that's a write-off.
Not hypno fish lady.
But hypno fish lady suddenly appears by my side, which is what she does. You just
magic.
She comes from behind you and she's standing on my left side, and I feel her hand holding my bicep.
Bon dia.
Exactly. She's whispering in my ear and something about 30 euros. And I'm like, no. And I step into this and I'm thinking, we're gonna do something here. And this is the big breakthrough now. I say neo turistico. I'm not a tourist and I'm not paying 30. I'm saying, a conto about this.
Now she's really in love with you. Now
I think she at that point began to respect me, and our relationship changed a little bit. Mm-hmm. She wasn't able to do her full. I was,
She only got 20 out of you. As I heard you say. Good job. Yes. That's a 30% reduction.
I still don't know if I'm better off. Well, I feel better. Well, I am better off because I did. I got more fish for less money. But I'm pleased with the way I handled myself in that interaction of you saying I'm not a tourist. I want that piece of fish there, not what you're going to suddenly fill a bag up with and ask me 30 euros for.
Because it's getting old and she needs to get it off out of
exactly. Her I want that guy there. How much is that guy? 15 for a robalo. Morning to you, Antonio. He's here. Yes, this is not the locker room. Pete, you're being asked to withdraw there, Pete. Oh, God, so never far away from innuendo, are we? And good morning to you, Antonio. I want that one. And then she starts, okay, do you want this dorada as well? I'll do the dorada. You can have the dorada as well for 20. And we're doing this in Portuguese. It's great. And by the end of it, James, I've established myself. She said, I haven't seen you in August. And I said, the best thing I can think of to say why I haven't been there in August is muito trabalho. I've been busy working.
As opposed to I've been avoiding you. That's probably a good choice.
I don't know how to say that in Portuguese. I'm really afraid of you and that you will make me spend more than I want to on fish. That is quite an elaborate sentence to construct, isn't it? So I just said,
absolutely.
And now thinking about it, how many lies do people say because they've only got a certain amount of vocabulary? They have to make an excuse in Portuguese, which is not true, but it's the best they can do. Okay, let's not go off on that tangent. Let's go back to the robalo, which I got. It was a big fella. These are big fish. They don't look it whilst they're there on the countertop. But I got my robalo that I wanted. beautiful, fresh, as you can see there, lovely clean bit of fish. The Dorado she threw in, we haggled, and that was 20. And do you know what? By the end of it, she threw in the carapau as well. She cleaned and gutted that almost like blindfolded with one hand. That's right, there it was, guts flying. She missed the bit about pode ser, para me gatos. Can I have that for my cat? I think she thought I was joking, or maybe that's a Portuguese aphorism that you're not meant to be uttering to a lady in a market. Can I have that for my cat? That doesn't seem too inoffensive, does it?
Well, it can imply it's lousy fish.
I didn't get the innards, but there she was. I felt like we came to, because I came out of my discomfort zone, as it turns out, and I manfully took it by the proverbials and said, okay, I want to come to this market. I love coming to the market, and I can't let this stop me. And that is my Mindful Migration Monday share with you. I've taken up all your slot telling you about myself. And
I was listening mostly.
Yes. Yeah, I know. And you were working on material at other times in the conversation, weren't you? I think as well. But it was, I would urge people to, if you've had like that meme, I love going to the market. But what I realized was I stopped liking going to the market because of my difficulties there. And I pushed through on Saturday morning and pushed through, and that there ends the tale of the three fish. So there you go.
Lovely story. That was a great entertainment. I had a lot of fun with that too, by the way.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah. One of my sort of impish comments is I always go with a Luisa. She's Portuguese, so there's a certain amount of confidence and a certain amount of familiarity with the market that she's already built up over the 20 or so years that she's been in Ericeira. So when I walk in with her, it's not like, oh, this guy knows Luisa. It's not like that, but there's a certain confidence I have that if I get into any sort of tricky situation, she can help me out of it. So that's a real benefit for me, is I have a Portuguese advocate who's really the reason that I'm familiar with the Mercado in Ericeira. And she's never actually had to stand in for anything for me, but there's just a feeling of security there. So if I'd gotten into that situation with a fish, she'd probably say, just tell her no.
Exactly.
She probably would have just told me that. But it's hard to do that. You want to accommodate. You don't want to appear rude. You're not quite familiar with appropriate protocols and saying yes or no, or all that kind of stuff. So there's that. There's a lack of familiarity with the language. If I get in a bind, I can get myself in, but I can't get out because I don't have the vocabulary or the language for it. All of that stuff working on you.
Yeah.
But what I have learned is that because of the culture, mostly in my experience, where they really want you to feel at home, they want you to be having a good time, they want you to be getting what you want. That's mostly my experience. So saying no to something, they don't really believe it.
Yes.
And I'm not a big alcohol drinker, and when they would say, oh, you want some wine? And I said, well, I'm always interested in trying something. So I say, un poco, and it's like this. Yeah. I show them this, and they fill up my glass. Yeah. It's like, now I feel obligated to drink the whole glass. Yes. Because otherwise, if I only take the sip or two that I wanted, then the rest is wasted because no one else is going to drink it. There's that kind of thing. And I practice, again, in a more comfortable situation, although it was uncomfortable to a degree, because Sidonio always wanted to give me more wine. And once he started to pour, or didn't actually start pouring, but was going to, I put my hand over the glass and said, "Não, obrigado," because I had said that. He said, "Do you want wine?" in Portuguese. I said, "Não, obrigado." And he starts to pour. So I put my hand over the glass, said, "Não, obrigado, now."
Let's take
I had to do that 3 times. Like, I really, really mean that I don't want wine, in order for him to hear it. And I think he was surprised and maybe a little hurt, but it was the only way that I was not going to get wine if I didn't want it. is I had to be that firm with it. And so I think there's probably a happy medium in there somewhere, especially with people who are not familiar. But your first experience of saying no was, I'm not a tourist and I'm not going to pay tourist prices anymore.
Yeah.
So you stood up and you said no.
Yes.
And, you know, I've had very rare occasions of people who were looking for money on the street. They've been 99.9% are just sitting, playing an instrument or just sitting with a sign or whatever they're doing. But every once in a while I get approached, usually with someone with, you know, 3 pairs of socks, and they ask for money, and it's like, I'm always very gentle and polite, saying no, obrigado. And one time recently, this person actually walked into the pastelaria and would not leave a table of 3 of us, which was not just me, but 2 Portuguese people as well, who were speaking Portuguese to her, and she wouldn't leave, no matter how. And finally, I said, now. Yeah. Now. And eventually she kind of went, oh, okay, you know, went away. But sometimes you're called to be that assertive. And I always start with being polite and friendly if I can. I always consider, well, is this something I could try because it's new to me? You know, those kinds of things. Even though I may not want it, it's being offered. There's all this stuff that goes with it. But I think your success was in the assertion of saying, wait, I'm not going to take it anymore, basically, not just because, you know, I'm not familiar with the language or people see me as a tourist, you know, whatever that is. Now, my experience at the Mercado is wonderful. I have one personal relationship developed with the woman at the fruit stand because I just started going there and I tried using what Portuguese I knew from the very beginning. I found out she's really hard of hearing. So if you want her to hear anything, you have to pretty much shout at her anyway. So she's mostly just going through the routine of greeting and you know, looking at what you're, all the sign language.
That's fascinating as well, though, isn't it? It's fascinating how much you can get done even when people don't really understand each other.
Without words. And, and so we've gotten into the place when I come into the Mercado, even if I don't need fruit for that week, because we go every week, at least once a week. You know, I'll come through the door and I'll look up and we'll intentionally make eye contact. I'll wave to her and say, hola, and she'll wave back at me. And it's very friendly. And I don't get the sense, although I'm not inclined to think someone doesn't like me because I'm not buying something from them. You know, I don't have a problem saying hello and then not going to the fruit stand to get something. One day we were coming in and I looked over, I didn't see her, and I realized, ooh, there's a little disappointment. I don't see my friend, my Mercado friend over there. And I got bumped from behind like that, and I heard, oi. And I turned around and I looked, and there she was standing next to me with a smile on her face. And I said, bon dia. It's like, oh, bon dia. You know, so that kind of rapport has been built up simply by engaging. And then Sidonia and Louisa have known the merchants at the vegetable stand for years. So, you know, João, who is the vendor, and I go back and forth a little bit. He speaks what very little English he knows to me, and I speak what very little Portuguese I know to him, but it's always friendly and making jokes. And so I have a very different experience of the Mercado than having and feeling like someone's trying to push their wares on me or trying to overprice me or whatever. I may be paying more than I need to be paying for the fruit, but I mean, I don't buy that much fruit. It's a joke in the household. You know, Sidonia's always, how much today? So, oh, 4 clementinas y 2 bananas. 2 bananas.
Having a party, are we?
5 pieces of fruit, you know. So there's not that expectation either, but I was going to say, you might not get a Christmas card from the Market Traders Association, but the thing is, you still might, even if you only buy 5 clementines. That's what we're talking about here, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you very much, James. We've got Vitor about to join us, and I apologize for taking over your entire part of the live stream. I'll get over it. If you liked me more, you'd make more time for me.
Exactly. Maybe we need to call after the show, and I'll talk you down. But here he is. Senor Costa is about to join us. Let's give him a nice big round of applause. and let's make some room on the screen. We're going to have to get rid of that to get this fella on the screen. Here he is. Way, hola, bon dia.
Hello, who's this?
It's the Good Morning Portugal show, Vitor.
And
I
Slug.
heard about it.
Yeah, what do you think? What have you been told? What have you heard?
I mean, better not say, but
But you've heard about it.
Okay.
how have you been? Been a while since we've been here all
Yes,
together.
it's been about a month, which is how this normally works, isn't it? And I see
Yeah.
you
It's
have
been
a
1 month.
Is that how
long
it's
month.
been for you? It's felt like a long month, has it? How has your summer been? Because I know up in Pontalima you've had your Feira Nova up there, haven't you? How was it? How did it go?
Well, it went really well. We went a few times. Our daughter really enjoyed it. And she learned a little bit that maybe cotton candy isn't the best investment.
Yes, because
It literally melts in your hand.
yeah, and also you get quite a lot, don't you? I've noticed children are sometimes it's like, oh, there's some cotton candy walking down the street. Oh no, there is a child behind it.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
Yes.
they usually, so they now have these pre-packaged buckets that are kind of like this big, and but they also do make it on the sticks,
Yes.
and it can be a big volume, but it's like what, maybe a cup like this of sugar,
Yep.
So it's not all that much, and it's gone in a second, but your hands get all sticky.
Yes.
And it
And
was
your face, yeah.
Happy
like halfway
memory.
through-
Yeah, happy
halfway
memory.
through, she was like, "Next time I'll order the popcorn."
Yes. And then you have the childhood incident of biting hard on the unpopped popcorn as well, don't you? This,
I guess.
these are our childhoods, aren't they? Fantastic. So lovely memories being made there by the sound of it at the Festa there. It curiously named the new Festa or the new
Feiras
holiday.
Novas.
Yes, it's a new one, but it's one of the oldest in Portugal, I understand.
Good. I know they had an app at least last year, or was it this year? Feiras Novas, and then 2023. But yeah, honestly, I only learned about them when I came here to Ponta de Lima, which apparently it's known all over the country, and I didn't know it until I came here, or rather until I met Maria. But yeah, I mean, the summer itself as well was probably the most comfortable summer I remember having here, because it
What in
wasn't
terms of
too hot.
temperature?
It wasn't too hot. It was rain once in a while. Unfortunately, some arsonists decided to have fun with a mountain nearby, but nobody got hurt. And then we had Feiras Novas, which crazy the amount of people in there. But yeah, it's a fun event. The other thing is, while we were there, so our daughter has a friend. They came from Brazil, and we met them there, and they were talking how grateful they were of being here in Portugal, because they've been here for about a year or so. And it's like, he said that if a party like this were to happen in Brazil or where they came from, there would be at least 10 dead people, and then robberies and all kinds of stuff. He actually, one time he was at a party, the guy next to him pulled out a gun, shot the guy on the other side, and then they just ran. And it's like, man, we really do take like a lot of things for granted here, don't we?
Well said. Absolutely, we do. Absolutely, yeah.
Hello, Antonio.
That is such a sobering share, isn't it? So this friend of yours must be delighted to be living here in Portugal now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He appreciates it every day, and still when he gets out in the early morning to go to work, he still looks sideways to see if anybody is there and what's going on.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's a difficult survival mechanism to get over.
And isn't it amazing what humans will put up with as well? That's the thing that astounds me, is when you have come from a place of that kind or an atmosphere of that kind. it's like people live like that every day, don't they? It's incredible what human beings have to or can become used to. It's extraordinary. So I'm so pleased for your friend and his family finding that quality of life here in Portugal. That's amazing. And on this matter of quite a mild summer, I don't think many people are complaining about that. I still can't wear a jacket when it's 28 degrees, says Pete. Us experts never get used to the heat. I do wear a jacket myself more than I used to when I go out. I think I'm becoming acclimatized. And clothing choices here in Portugal, says Pete. It was a 28 degrees on Saturday night at the beautiful misty atmospheric sheep over the mountains Festa in Alpedrina on Saturday night. And people were in thick coats and jumpers. It's all about acclimatization, isn't it, and what you're used to. We find that our friends' children are constantly being wrapped up when it's rather warm. We used to get this quite a lot, actually, when we were first here in Portugal. The kids would be running around as Brits in quite mild weather here. And old ladies would be saying, frio, your kids will freeze in this. And we're like, I think they're going to be okay, but thank you. And they really, they were truly concerned that these children only had one layer on in this sort of temperatures Pete's talking about there, I think.
Story of my life.
Oh, you get told that as well, do you? By grandmas?
Like ever since I was a kid, like moms, grandmas, in particular, it's like the kids will always be like, "Oh wow, it's hot."
Yes.
And they're like in a t-shirt or something, and moms want you to put on a huge jacket and a sweater and all kinds of stuff on top. It's like, no, mom, I'm hot.
Yes, you'll get sick if you don't stay warm. That's right. Bon dia a todos from Ocean Dweller Viva. We just returned from a trip to Belgium. How lovely. Looking forward to more of your writing, Aviva. I think we might have had a communication mismatch. I get the feeling. So let's catch up and see what's what. Earlier on, I just need to refer to this. This was great. Because at some point, and we'll see Susie's send-off. We've had Sheep just mentioned there, which reminded me of the send-off Suze has had. But all she had to say was, sorry, but enough of your adolescent humor already, guys, please. And that's great. I'm so pleased you felt able to say that. And I'm so glad that the immature men among us, myself included, it has to be said, have responded to your request. That's how we should roll. I like that a lot. And on the matter of spending 30 euros at fishmongers, we bought 5 sardines yesterday for the princely fish truck. For the princely fish truck straight from Nazaré, I would expect half the stall for 30 euros. 5 sardines for €1. That's incredible value, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed those.
Oh, wow.
How did you treat them, Peter? I wonder.
How big were they, though?
Yeah, I'm thinking they must only be like Tremoso sized sardines for €5 for €1. Or he was selling them off at the end of the day. Pete waiting in a bar, spending loads on beer, watching the fishmonger come to the end of the day and then walking over and making him an offer of €1 for 5 sardines, maybe, over there. So, yes, this is Susie's send-off from central Portugal. As you can see from the chat, she is in Finland now, where it is a little bit chillier, not as, much colder than it will be up in where we're now complaining of it getting a bit cool. This is the send-off she received the other day.
Try competing with that. Okay, someone tried.
My thought exactly. Perfect.
Yes, we got to see that again. Try competing with that. Then Taxi steps in to compete with that.
Try competing with that. Okay, someone tried.
That reminds me when someone posted on one of those expat forums quite a long time ago, like, "Hey, do people in northern Portugal have running water?" And somebody answered, "No, we have walking water. Everything is slower here."
Yes, one of our favorites. So, Vitor, what's been going on for Portugal Door? We're aware of your rebrand and your efforts, your constant efforts to support people, finding out about Portugal, coming to Portugal and helping them settle, mainly in the north up there of the country where you are. I see you've started a Portuguese, or your good lady wife has started a Portuguese class. Tell us about that and other new offerings from Portugal Door, if you will.
Maybe she should come to the show sometime.
I'd love that. It'd be great.
Yes, send her a message one of these days and see what she says. But yeah, I mean, we're always looking to expand what we offer. Ultimately, our kind of like our dream is to be the one-stop shop for anything you need anywhere in Portugal. And obviously, we won't be able to do everything directly ourselves, but like you need a home in, I don't know, Alentejo, for example. Hey, we have a partner there. We have home inspectors there. We can get you covered over there. Oh, we need something in Bragança. Yeah, we have people there too. Oh, we actually maybe need to go to Brazil. What a coincidence. We know people in Brazil, even though Portugal is our focus, right?
Yeah.
So, when I started in real estate, and this was before I even started helping, expats come here into Portugal. Ever since I began like my real estate career, and I had no idea what even real estate meant, it was kind of an uphill climb to start learning how the thing works. And obviously, I still have a lot to learn as well still. But one of the things that I focused on from the very beginning is that I need to know professionals in every area, so that then I can help my clients, right? Like I need to know good builders. I need to go good architects and lawyers and everything, because there's a lot that goes on in Portuguese real estate, and we don't really have title companies. We don't have escrow or anything like that. And here in Portugal, it's very much buyers beware for the most part when it comes to real estate, and it's like you get what you buy, and then you only down the line do you figure out if it was a good deal or not in many cases. So I kind of don't really like the sound of that. Like I want to make sure that we know what we're doing and we're aware of what's happening. And so then I started working with expats, right? And I noticed even more challenges that people go through when coming here. And it makes so much sense that most people, hi, Elian. It makes so much sense that so many of the relocation companies here in Portugal are from other expats, because after going through all that they went through, it's like, wow, people need help doing this. I really feel like the majority of relocation companies here didn't happen because they wanted to make money or whatever. That's obviously always a positive reason as well. But I really believe that most real estate companies that exist here in Portugal are because somebody felt there was a really big need and that people needed help, and that somebody had to do it. Do you think I'm wrong there?
No. Certainly not. People definitely need help. I thought you meant in the more general sense. Having worked with a few expats, you thought, oh, these people need help, but you don't.
Oh, that too. Yeah. I mean, you attract what you are, right?
There's a company in the United States, Kaiser, which is in a whole lot of stuff, building, healthcare, all stuff. But their concrete trucks or their cement trucks with the big rolling mixers have printed on them, find a need and fill it.
Yes.
Which is pretty much what we're talking about, but it's a good application. Yeah. Find a need and fill it.
If you find that, there's that saying as well, isn't it? The riches are in the niches. Unless, of course, you say niches, then it just sounds a bit weird.
Then you have to say riches.
Your riches are in your niches.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, so it sounds like it's going well. What do you have to say, Vitor, about supply and demand at the moment? This remains an issue, doesn't it? The concerns about, the bubble, boom and bust. Not enough inventory, on the supply side. What's your assessment of what's going on, especially in the north at the moment?
Well, I actually have a here.
Phone's going crazy,
borrowing
man.
a little bit from this book. It's one of the books by Gary Keller. It's called Shift. It's about, there will always be a need for real estate. Like it has its ups and downs. Right now, we're at a point where there is a lot of demand and little supply.
Yep.
So not a lot of, maybe not as much is being bought and sold. Also, interest rates are going up and all of these things. And there are many people who might be concerned or putting things off or whatever. But there will always be real estate that's being bought and sold. Mm-hmm. You have to work it differently. You have to work in other ways. Maybe you need to put a lot more effort to get the same results, but people will still need help. And that's what we're here to do. And relocation in particular, I mean, it's like a hydra. You chop up one head, you fix one problem, you find three more, and so on and so forth, right?
And common themes then. What is it that people? I suppose my question to you is, what are you finding most surprising that comes up in this? As I heard it referred to last week, bureaucracy. I mean, that's part of it, isn't it? Bureaucracy. What are the recurring themes that you around which you are developing your niche and the hole that needs to be filled, as it were?
Well, now that you mention it, I kind of feel like maybe the most pressing thing that recently I've becoming more and more aware is in regards to expectations. So going forward, I'm always now in the first meeting, I tell my clients, hey, I'm not sure if I said this last time, but I tell them, hey, look, before we start working together, I want to let you know that there's a high chance that we're going to let you down. Because this is a complicated process. There are a lot of moving parts, and a lot of things depend on third parties. Now, here in Portugal, and I tell them this as well, usually if you're given a time estimate, kind of double it. That's your expectation.
Yeah.
If you're given a quote or a budget, add about 30% more on top of that. That kind of would be the expectation. Now, we want to do things as fast as possible, as effectively as possible, but we don't control everything. So, for instance, we had a client that maybe in the beginning of the year, or February, I think, we signed a promise to buy sell agreement because the owner said that it should be ready for the deed in July or August, right? And his rental ended in around September. Still not finished. We're still waiting for documentation for the town hall, and we can't do the deed until we have all of the documents. So it's kind of, we're working on it. We're trying to do everything we can to make sure that today it gets done. But that's the main thing that we've been noticing, that I guess, and I still haven't gone to America and worked with a realtor there to see exactly how things work there. But my feeling is that if this was America, you say July, it needs to be done in July or everybody's suing everybody else.
Yes. Okay. So expectation management is the big thing.
Yeah, expectation management. And we're noticing as well that more and more people are having questions about shipping, and we haven't quite found a good shipping company that can help with the whole process. We know that it needs to be done properly, otherwise you'll pay excessive fees and customs.
Yes.
There are ways to send your personal goods here, but we still need to find a good partner that we can cooperate with and help our clients do that.
It just so happens I'm talking to GIR, specifically about moving pets this Thursday night for the Expats Portugal webinar. But we'll be talking to the folks from GIR, Global International Relocation. They might be a partner you want to consider, Vitor. Thank you for this insight into expectation management, because it must be very difficult to not want to disappoint people. Part of good service is satisfying people, isn't it? And if your message is, sorry, the expectations are unrealistic, it ain't going to happen. There must be a particular way of breaking that news. And I think one of the things that people bring from abroad is, well, can't I just pay more and have this happen? That is not a thing, is it?
Well, sometimes it can be. For example, there are certain town hall documents that if you pay like 200 euros or something to have it done urgently, it's done the next day. Otherwise, you have to wait 2 or 3 weeks. But for the most part, money is not the problem. Because and again, going back to what you said and the expectations, it's mostly a cultural fine-tuning, I would say. And it's what I've been paying more attention to towards myself. It's how the culture works. Because me being Portuguese, intrinsically, if somebody tells me, hey, it's about 2 weeks, I know, okay, they want to get this done in 2 weeks. I won't be surprised if it doesn't happen that way.
Yes.
But if somebody comes here from other countries, that might not be the expectation. It might be, okay, he said 2 weeks, in 2 weeks it will be done.
Yes.
And I'm working on myself to, if somebody says 2 weeks, say, he said 2 weeks. Might not be 2 weeks, but that's what.
Yes.
More likely 4. Yeah.
More likely 4.
Oh, and in August, everything stops. That's why it was a long month as well, because
Yeah.
We want to get things done, but everybody's on vacation. Everybody doesn't want to work or whatever. It's like, okay, then I guess it's a dead month.
So plus
September.
2 weeks double plus August. That'll be 8 weeks actually. But as long, if you know, don't you? And that's the way to manage disappointment.
Well, I think that's the value of what Vitor can offer is his experience of the culture and willingness to tell the truth.
Well said.
You know, I want to say yes, but my experience says probably not. So we need to talk about that.
Yeah,
and that's another important distinction as well, and it's something I want to share with everybody watching this. Like when Portuguese people tell you something, like, "Oh, I'll get it done in 1 week, and it'll be this much," and blah 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 blah. I believe that in most cases they really do mean it. They really do want to have that done in 1 week. They really do want to help you out and do it for an affordable price and so on and so forth. But then, but I forgot on Tuesday is a holiday, and if Tuesday is a holiday, and then Monday's after the weekend and before the holiday, so I should just extend that weekend and have a 4-day weekend, and then I'll get back to work on Wednesday, and then I'm not going to put this on my calendar, so maybe I'll forget. And people, when they tell you things, they really mean it.
I agree.
But they're not very good at following through most of the time.
Yeah, that's right. And, oh my, the timber yard. All the timber prices have gone up. I'm sorry, I don't. The prices have all gone up as well. And you're right. It's the best of intentions, guys. We got to wrap up here. You need to answer this question, Vitor. Do you have people in Madeira or the Açores?
Absolutely, yes. And in Açores in specific, it is one of our mentors. He has like 40 years of experience in real estate, and he's from Canada, so he's being a little bit infected by the Portuguese culture, but he still has the other ways of working. Oh, and by the way, one advice I got from him that I can share with everybody here as well. When you need something done by Portuguese people, a tip that I can give you is, take it upon yourself to follow up with them. Oh, I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, when are you going to do it? Oh, I think I'm going to do it Friday. Perfect. Friday in the morning or the afternoon? I don't know. I'll see. Yeah, but
by when? Yes.
I think in the morning. Okay, perfect. At what time? At 10 or 11? At 10. Okay. I'll send you a message on Thursday to see if everything is ready for Friday. Just keep them accountable, keep them on top, send them a message with some time so that they can go, oh my God, I almost forgot. I need to do this quickly.
That's gold.
That would be my advice.
That's gold. Thank you very much, Vitor. Great to see you. Let's just have a little bit of malarkey with dad jokes and a few loose ends here. We plan to see you at the November meetup. That's great, Jim. Are you coming for the weekend or just one of the Wednesday meetups? Any of which you are very welcome to. It'll be lovely to see you. We are in San Martino in November, in Tamar in October, and in Ericeira next weekend with Bobby O'Reilly. I'll go out with that little bit of video. And I think some of this, because I think I've been dared to play it. This will mean something to the people who spent their childhood in the UK. Did you hear that, chaps? Okay, that was a Captain Pugwash thing. More of that to come in just a moment. Francesina, talking of trying Portuguese things, I will be having a Francesina one morning. It is not a croque, monsieur. Stop it, Peter. You have been warned by Suze. Jimi Hendrix died 53 years ago. That's what my meme tribute was. Keijo, where are you going with that gun in your hand? There on the screen for you now. Look at that, 53 years ago when Jimi Hendrix died. And a visual dad joke from you, James, as well. You wanted to see this picture, which is long overdue. There you are. That's the slug's eye view of the redwoods, isn't it? And you want to share this as well. This post has been removed because it might cause offense. There you go. We do have to go now. Thank you, Vitor. Thank you, James. And we'll see you tomorrow. And we'll be back then. All the best to you and love to the north of Portugal, Vitor. Thank you very much indeed. Big round of applause. What?
The dad joke.
Okay, a little bit of video to come for you as we make our way out here and play you the fantastic. That's Bobby O'Reilly you can hear. Just give me a quick tour. Here we are at Fonte de Telha. The beach. If any of you gumpers are coming to the Ericeira weekend, there's Lisbon across the water there in the distance. And down the end of this path is the Ericeira Beach Club, where we might well go over the weekend, 22nd, 23rd and 24th of September. Just on a bit of a recce right now. It'd be lovely to see you here over the weekend. You don't have to commit to any particular parts of it. There's just a number of serving suggestions. If you want to do the paragliding, you can. Can't imagine many Gumpers wanting to do that. But you might want to pop down to this beautiful Fonte de Telha beach and marvel in the distance there. Lisbon on the other side of the water. Hope to see you here 22nd, 23rd, 24th of September next weekend.